Hello and welcome. My name is Charles Wright. In this video, we're going to explore 3 of the 5 principles to reduce extraneous processing in multimedia learning. Extraneous processing is any cognitive processing related to the way the content is presented. Extraneous processing uses up precious working memory space, which we need to teach the material. In this video, we're going to explore signaling, coherence, and temporal contiguity. The signaling principle states that people learn more deeply from presentations or multimedia that have cues or signals to help organize the information and to make the most important information stand out. Signaling can be anything from arrows and circles to highlighting, underlining, italicizing, or bolding important text. If we're teaching a complicated piece of software that may be new to the student, all of the buttons and choices can be overwhelming. But if we add some signaling to show the students the steps we're talking about, they can more easily follow along without as much extraneous processing. In a text example, a block of text like this can feel overwhelming if students are asked to quickly read it in class. But if we make some big ideas stand out with signaling, the block of text is not as intimidating. Signaling is also useful to the instructor because we're telling the students what content we want them to remember. The coherence principle states that people learn more deeply from presentations or multimedia that do not have extraneous material included in them. Sometimes teachers have a tendency to add or show material that they find interesting or fun, even though it may only be tangentially related to the topic. Research shows that adding this extraneous material uses up valuable working memory that we need to teach the content we want students to learn. A slide like this can be overwhelming because all of the images and text the student needs to process. Even though the instructor feels all the information is important or fun and pertains to the topic, the student is not sure what to look at or what they should be reading first. In contrast, a slide like this gives students the information they need without the extraneous overload of the previous slide. The temporal contiguity principle states that people learn more deeply from presentations or multimedia when the visual and narration are presented simultaneously. If we have Photoshop up on the screen, then we should be talking about Photoshop. I've been guilty of not following the temporal contiguity principle when a student asks a question about another piece of software. For example, if we're here talking about Photoshop and a student asks about the printer settings in InDesign so they can print out their project, if I keep Photoshop open and answer the question, other students get confused because the visual on the screen does not match my explanation. I'm asking students to remember what the print menu looks like from 20 minutes ago and apply that memory to what I'm saying. Instead, I should switch over to the software I'm answering the question on so other students can follow along and not create the need for extraneous processing. In this video, we talked about 3 of the 5 principles to reduce extraneous processing in multimedia learning: signaling, coherence, and temporal contiguity. I hope this video was helpful in thinking about how to design multimedia material that does not overload working memory and help students learn more deeply.